I decided to take a day off to spend time with my family. And that morning, when I woke up, Christopher, who was only 8 months old at the time, he brought me his box of animal crackers. He's crawling on the floor and stood up next to the bed. And I picked him up and set him on the bed and was feeding him animal crackers. And when I wasn't feeding him fast enough, he said, "More, Dada." And it just floored me because I'd never heard it. He'd never said anything before, no vocalization at all. Was Mom had already made plans. She was going to go to another town to visit her mother. And so I laid back, went to sleep, and about 40 minutes later, the phone rang. There was a nurse on the phone that I usually drank coffee with at night. And she said, "Danny, you need to get to the hospital pretty quick." And I said, "Well, no, I'm off today." She said, "No, you don't understand. You need to get to the hospital real quick. Your wife and baby's been in an auto accident." I went into the room and my wife was pretty hysterical and saying that she had killed Christopher. The nurse decided that she was going to take me down to where Christopher was. And she took me to the next room, exam room, and Dr. McCready walked out in the hall when he saw me, and he told me that Christopher was in pretty critical shape.
Some things you just never forget. And that was one of those mornings I won't ever forget. I remember seeing Christopher come in. He was still in his infant chair. It was evident he'd been hurt pretty badly, and he had some skull fractures, and he was not breathing very well.
Dr. McCready told me again he didn't think he would make it, but he wanted to get him to a different hospital that had a trauma surgeon that could look at Christopher, and he asked me if I would okay for him to call a helicopter. I walked outside the emergency room at Henderson, and I saw the helicopter coming, and to this day I can still hear that sound of those rotors. I'll never forget also the feeling of despair, seeing that helicopter take off with my whole world inside of it and leaving me behind. Christopher had stopped breathing on the way to the hospital while they were in the air, and they revived him 3 different times and before they got him to Mother Francis. It was just an up and down battle every day just to see Christopher stay alive, and it was very traumatic on my wife and I both because we didn't know if he was going to make it from one day to the next. I had already picked out pallbearers to serve for Christopher's funeral, and I guess Christopher decided that that's not really what he wanted. If it had not been for Dr. McCready and the Flight for Life crew, Christopher wouldn't have made it far enough for the other doctors to be able to treat him.
I would like to thank the miracle for bringing me out of that car and for saving my life. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here right now. Thank you, Dr. McCready. Thank you, Brasher.
He loves girls. He loves to flirt with girls. And when he's not flirting with girls, he's got a job that he works for Tamarack Residential Services in Longview. He's very active and he wants to go places. He doesn't want to just be left in a corner someplace. He's very active and wants to be active. He doesn't let his disability stop him at all.